Let's solve a system of equations. So a system means we're going to have more than one, and that means you're going to need more than one answer. Here, so I'm going to look at 2x minus y equals -1, and 3x plus 2y equals 30. So if I'm going to solve this using elimination, I would multiply one or both of the equations so that when I add them together, something eliminates. So if I look at this top equation, I notice that if I multiply by 2, I'm going to be able to come up with 4x minus 2y equals -2. Now it's that minus that's going to be real important because I need a positive and a negative, but now I have 2 and I have -2. So I'm going to be able to add these two equations together. 3x plus 4x is 7x, and real important is that something eliminates. So I get 28. I'm adding them together. Divide by 7, and x is equal to 4. Now I had x and y, and in a system of equations, you're going to have more than one answer. So x equals 4 is insufficient. I need to go back and find the y value. Now I can stick that into any place I can find an x. So I can say that that is 2 times 4 minus y equals -1. So I'm going to plug that x is 4 into some x somewhere. So 8 minus y equals -1. And I minus 8 from both sides. -y equals -9. And if I divide by -1, I have y is equal to +9. Now I do want to write these together, that I have x is 4 and y is 9, that's going to be my answer. Now elimination or substitution is one way to solve a system of equations. Another way to solve the system of equations is using Cramer's rule. So by Cramer's rule, what we're doing is we're going to just look at the coefficients. So I'm looking at this 2, the -1 and the -1, 3, 2, and 30. So I just want to look at those numbers and create matrices out of them. The x value, I'm going to hide the x column. I'm going to look here at the y column and the coefficients. So I have a -1, a -1, a 2, and a 30. However, for the first numerator, the x numerator, you actually go backwards. So you start at the end and you come in. So it would be -1, -1, 30, and 2. -1, -1, 30, and 2. So we're going to do Cramer's rule. -1, -1, 30, and 2. That is going to be the numerator of my x value. Now the numerator of my y value is going to be, I'm going to cover up the y column, so don't look at the y column. Don't look at these. You're going to look at the 2, the -1, the 3, and the 30. The 2 and the -1, the 3 and the 30. So we're going to skip the y's, and with the y's, it actually goes in the same order. So 2 and then -1, 3 and then 30. So you remember when you do x's, you do it backwards. When you do y's, you do it forwards. And that was 2, -1, 3, and 30. Two, -1, 3, and 30. Now that gives us the numerator for the x and y. So don't forget we're making x comma y. What I need to have down here is I need to get the denominators. Now the denominators are going to be where I ignore the third column. So first I ignored the first column, then I ignored the second column. Now I'm going to ignore this third column. So I'm going to ignore the -1 and the 30. I'm going to ignore the -1 and the 30. And I'm going to look at here. I've got 2, -1, 3, and 2. 2, -1, 3, and 2. 2, -1, 3, and 2. And actually, it's the same for both denominators. So that sets me up with Cramer's rule. Then I have to find the determinant. Determinant of each matrix here. So you actually will go diagonal. So I go this way, and I multiply those together. And I would multiply these together and subtract. So that's going to give me, when I go diagonal, I get -2, and then I minus -30. Then on the next one, I've got 2 times 30 is 60. And then going diagonal this way, 3 times -1 is -3. Whoops. I have to minus that. So I minus -3. Put a comma in there. Now on the bottom, when I go diagonal, I've got 2 times 2 is 4. And 3 times -1. So I minus -3. And it's going to be the same for both denominators. Should be. Go diagonal, 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times -1 is -3. And so then I'm just going to go ahead and do this math. So this gives me -2 plus 30 over 4 plus 3, comma, 60 plus 3 over 4 plus 3, which would give me 28 divided by 7, comma, 63 divided by 7. 28 divided by 7 is 4, and 63 divided by 7 is 9. So I get 4, 9. Let's see how that compares with the answer that I got from elimination. Aha! Same answer, as it should be. So I get the same answer if I use elimination or if I use Cramer's rule.